I awaken. I don't know it at the moment, but this day marks my 4th straight year of existing in the Dogscape. I push myself up from the carpet of writhing, twitching dog flesh beneath me and rise to my feet, stretching in the morning sun. It took me a while to learn to balance on the solid layer of dogs that now blankets every inch of solid ground, but nowadays I can walk and run as easily and as fast as I ever did on soil or concrete, even faster. This was a city once, I think, though which one I can't remember. I only owe my guess to the massive pillars of dogs jutting into the sky. Perhaps ancient buildings now completely filled by and overgrown by canine biomatter. I climbed one once, sinking my fingers and toes deep into the dog wall and to gain purchase. After hours and hours of climbing, was rewarded with an incredible vista. Fur and eyes, panting tugs and wagging tails, hugging the contours of the once barren land and stretching in a single amoebic mass farther than the eye can see. Now, I don't do that, though. I merely go about my day. I hike to the gardens where the dog plants sprout up in bizarre shapes from the floor of the dogscape, and reach to pluck the fetal puppy fruits off the wagging, energetic branches. I bite into the succulent fresh, the juices dribbling down my chin and dripping down to be reabsorbed by the ground flesh, and revel in the savory taste. I'm thirsty, so I range until I find one of the mother mounds, and there I suckle at a teat patch until I've had my fill of milk. Sometimes I suckle at a teat patch, sometimes I see other humans around me, as well adapted to the dogscape as I am, but I barely acknowledge them. Say nothing. What, after all, is there to say? The world is different now. What meaning will our old words have? Free-ranging dogs are becoming rarer and rarer to see now, and those I do see seem as lost, as passive as I am. They too graze on the dog plants, step carefully over the undulating, bleeding dog floor, dimly acknowledge myself and one another. In the distant sky and on the far horizon, I sometimes see massive forms sail or crawl or undulate, and I wonder if in this new world, normal, singular, ambulatory dogs have become as obsolete as I am. I dug down once, down beneath the dogs, beneath the hair and the ears and the barking. It was hard and it took a lot of planning. I had to destroy one of the dog trees with my hands, rip out the twisted, yards-long communal spines that served them as branches, and lash them together with tendons and skin. But soon I had tools, pitchforks, spears, shovels. I picked a spot where the dog floor seemed shallower and set to work. The blood started spurting when my spear first broke the surface and didn't stop for hours and hours and hours. I was drenched in gore and viscera, covered in flecks of bone and meat and brain, but I learned to ignore the sickening squelching sounds, ward off the smell, and just kept going deeper and deeper, spearing and levering out dogs of stranger and stranger size and build, dogs with 2 heads, dogs with human hands, dogs with writhing tentacles where their back legs should be. Eventually, I came to an end of the dogs, or perhaps the beginning of whatever lies beyond dogs, an expanse of multicolored patchwork fur that extended as far as I could dig in any direction. I could pierce it with great difficulty, but it barely bled, and try as I might, I could only barely peel the skin away, revealing a layer of striated, grayish muscle beneath. It started to tremble as I watched it, shaking the very dog matter around me, and I realized that the dogscape was beginning to regenerate itself, close in over me, seal me in. So I fled, climbing back up to the light. The stream trickled warmly past the black leathery edges of the puppy mouth stream. The saliva waters churned as they flowed from the bed in the stream lined with the ever-lapping tongues of eager grinning puppies. To feel a rock on the shore is to find sharp milk teeth of weaned dogs cast to the tufts of mange weeds, growing into spits and bank. Their head of the stream is spit by a single mound of golden fur, like an upholstered boulder set with a large golden eye that swerves to see passing visitors. The waters will bubble and froth should they see I see you. Their tongues lapping nervous, loving greetings with gurgled yips. The Dogscape. That's what we call it. Us humans had banded together. We sit around campfires and cook the whelps we collect from the dog trees. The only foul material we have is the acrid fur that grows everywhere. It offends all senses, but soon the meal is prepared. The only food sources are the dog trees and the mother mounds. Some foolish enough to dig for meat. Though the reward is great, many don't come back for the dog flesh regrows above them, trapping them inside the moist ground. Primitive tools are forged together from bones and leather, such as shovels and knives and clothes. I have lived here for as long as I can remember. There are faint shimmers of the time beneath the dog flesh, before it. But what use is there dwelling on the past when it cannot fill our stomachs in the present? I am our tribe's scribe. My name is Doc. I used to have a real name, but it escapes my memory. I record all of our findings and knowledge in my leathered pages, using dog blood as ink. There were times when there were more of us. The tribe started with as many as 60 people. Now our numbers are as few as 20. Our leader is Keith. He instructs us to find food, build shelter, and bring fire. He abuses his power, taking 5 wives and eating more than his share of food. But those who speak against him meet death in the night. It is hellish, but there is no other choice. Without guidance, we will die out here, so we remain under his leadership. I had a dog after the Dogscape happened. His name was Carl. He always followed me around. When I was almost dead from starving, he got me dog fruits. When I was dying of thirst, he held milk in his mouth and got it to me. One day his foot got stuck in a mouth, and I couldn't get him out, so I watched while it swallowed him. A few years later, when I went back, Carl was right there, but he was stretched out, and when I went to pet him, he bit me and wouldn't let go. I wonder if people can be a part of the Dogscape too. I miss Carl.